Thank you.
At the Bing Lounge with Gary Ogan and his band. A brand new album, Sound Ground. Congratulations on that. We'll get around to talking a little bit about it in just a second. You are known as a self-confessed out-of-sight guy, and I don't mean not as in uptight out-of-sight, but some people have not had the pleasure of seeing you in quite some time, and yet you're the veteran of, I hate almost to say this, but 40 years of making music. That is so impressive.
Thank you.
I
agree.
and it shows. And I wanted you to just reflect a little bit on that. I know that you've lived in Nashville, Los Angeles has been your home, and yet you somehow have come back to ground here in Portland, and we're so happy that you do. But what was the Portland music scene like? You were playing at a lot of places.
Yeah.
Paint a little picture for us.
Well, not totally unlike it is nowadays. It was totally thriving in my early 70s when I was playing clubs here. And I still have my calendars from back then, and I could go through months at a time, or consecutive months of working 4 to 5, 6 nights a week, and clubs that would hire you that many nights of a week. Aldo's and, And, I notice all the bands playing now, and it's not that much different. It seems like Portland is a music town. Kids are still kicking butt around here,
and still able to make a living.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've toured with a really iconic guy, and I have to mention his name. You toured, you played, you wrote with Leon Russell. Mm-hmm. How did that relationship start up?
I was signed to my very first production deal in Portland, Rex Recording. They're still in existence downtown here. And the guy who was my engineer, Greg Branson, took some of my songs to L.A., and Leon's secretary was one of the people he dropped the tape off to, and she gave the tape to him, and he liked it, and he called me and woke me up in the middle of the night and invited me down to live with him and produce his second duet record with his wife at the time, Mary Russell. Yeah, he was looking for a co-producer at the time. And I had just become a big fan of his. I sort of missed his first splash, but by the time he made Carney and Will o' the Wisp and the Wedding album, I was totally on board as a fan. So, it was really good timing for me to discover that he was open to a guy like me. It was great.
It's great that somebody like that can open a door up to an upcoming singer-songwriter. You had a really interesting regimen with him, the way that you would write, mm-hmm. The two of you. Can you describe that?
Yeah, it was new to me at the time, and I can't say I have perpetuated it, but I certainly enjoyed it, and it works, which is sitting down. At the time we had typewriters, and he had his typewriter, I had mine, and we would spend a half an hour or so typing stream of consciousness stuff off the top of our head. Anything that we thought of, we typed. And spend the next, the rest of the day trying to put this stuff to music. And sometimes it happened, and, it usually either happened really quickly or it didn't work at all. So that was the fun part. You didn't have to beat your head against the wall too much. Yeah,
just rely on your brain power. And do you do that to this day?
Absolutely. I refuse to work too hard at anything. So I'm very blessed that way with the music, because it doesn't fight me too much.
I don't believe you for a minute about not working too hard, because your new album, Sound Ground, is recorded, and it's all you. And I kidded you about that last week when we first spoke. It's really a one-man band, and it reminds me of people like Stevie Wonder, and everything on there is you. What does it take to put an album like that together? You only have to argue with yourself, you know.
I guess patience is the main thing, because you're putting things on one at a time, and on the bigger productions, I found most often I had to discover what the song wanted to be as I was working on it. So it's a big crapshoot, really. Some songs I'll get all the way almost done, and they don't sound good, and there were a couple of songs that had to come off the record for that reason. But yeah, your patience is the deal, and loving what you do,
Gary sent me a list of, I think you really took it to heart when I teased you about it, but you gave me 33 reasons why you are that one-man band, but I had one favorite.
Good.
It was because I can.
Yeah, that was the first one I thought of, too. Because anybody will say that about anything they do that's successful. I do it because I can. It's what I was blessed with.
And to still get all that nuance in there and everything, and that it sounds like it's a whole band. So now, talk us through what happens when you get this wonderful band on the stage. That's your next step. You have to bring that album into an organic band.
Yeah. Well, that was tough. I spent literally the last 3 years trying to put this band together. And I went through a lot of people, in this town. And people kept mentioning these people's names. And it wasn't until about a month ago I finally called these people. So we spent the last 3 weeks learning this record. And I'm telling them this is the best band I've ever had. It's just like it dropped out of the sky for me. It's just amazing how they've latched on to my goofy writing, They're killing it.
It must be a real exciting process to have your music come to life, in a totally different kind of way than this really great album, Sound Ground. Congratulations on that once again, and I think nothing left but to hear some of that music with your band. Yeah. Thank you, Gary.
You bet, Nanessa.